Hello everyone, it's Paul, and welcome to my Emerald Nightmare raid guide for Elerethe Renferal on Heroic difficulty. So you'll see a very long pull timer here. The reason for that is we kind of got to talk about the encounter area and the positioning. As you can see, Spiderbird will start the fight in the bottom left platform. The edges of all of these platforms and this little platform here in the center have spider eggs on them. Do not ever run into these spider eggs. They'll spawn additional adds and knock people away and do a fair chunk of damage. Do not run into any eggs that you see during this encounter. The way that the fight transitions, you're going to face one spider phase on this first platform and then a very, very short bird phase. Then she's going to lift off and go to the second platform. If your DPS is anywhere that it should be for you to be tackling Heroic, you should not really even see the third platform and should kill her right here on the second. The most dangerous part of this fight is actually the transition phase, which will occur on this here bridge of webs. But let's talk a little bit about the spider phase. Very shortly after the pull, 4 people will gain Web of Pain. This links 2 people together as well as the 2 tanks, and any damage done to either target is then reflected to the other target. Players with this debuff should try and stay 20 yards within each other. The 2 tanks will have a harder time doing this because the adds that spawn when she does this ability here called the Vile Ambush. After Vile Ambush, you will see that several adds spawn. The off tank should pick these up and move them off to the side of the boss, trying to stay within 20 yards of his co-tank, like I do not do there. You see that my Web of Pain just starts glowing red, and I start taking a lot of damage. These spider adds will spawn additional venom pools, so try and move them out of the path of the boss so the melee don't have to adjust too much. I would also recommend that your tanks swap tanking duties every Vile Ambush because you do get a significant debuff from the adds that does ticking damage. Throughout the fight, your raid's going to be dealing with Necrotic Venom and Vile Ambush. Necrotic Venom just puts a warning debuff on 2 players. They have to run out of the raid. What we're doing here is we're kind of painting the platform from where we started and moving up. Vile Ambush that you see here is going to put a big green targeting circle and spawn the adds that we were talking about earlier. The further you are from that impact point, the less damage you're going to take. There's 2 ways to handle it. You can go to either side of the platform and switch back and forth. What we actually ended up doing is just painting the platform as we go because it didn't seem to do significant enough damage for us to warrant changing sides. She will cast Vile Ambush twice and transition into her bird form. Once in bird form, she'll put purple tornadoes on people. Those people can clear out the venom pools, so you'll see them do that here, but they will still take damage. They are not immune while they're with those purple tornadoes. So we cleared the ones near the boss and then have them drop off their tornadoes and get ready for Gathering Clouds. Gathering Clouds does a lot of raid damage, and we actually blew double tranks here to top the raid off and be ready to go into the transition phase at full health. For the Darkstorm, the transition phase, she will spawn several feathers on the ground. These people get a jump buff, and you also get an extra ability bar where you can instantly kill spiderlings, but apparently you have to be quite high in the air before you can kill them. So what you want to do is have a tank and several healers and DPS take those so that they get to the platform quick and help with killing the adds. The tank that gets there first should pick up Renferal and be ready for Raking Talons. Raking Talons should not hit the same tank twice, so where we actually tanked her there is probably not the best place. We should have tanked her closer to where he's dealing with the adds so that he could have done a taunt for Raking Talon. During the bird phase, you really just have to watch out for the purple tornadoes. You want to make sure that they don't hit any of the venom pools, because if they do, they're going to start shooting green shit on the ground. You'll see that a little bit later in the fight. So try to keep a little bit of room between these venom pools and the tornadoes just by moving the boss. And soon here you're going to see the tank debuff. When Raking Talons hits the tank that's currently tanking the boss, the off tank should taunt so that he takes the second stack. No tank should ever take 2 of them. Right after that, she will do this Razor Wing attack, which is a frontal cone that even the tank that's currently on the boss can dodge. Don't get hit by that, and don't ever stand in front of the bird. Alright, so now it starts to get a little bit hectic, but honestly, if you just affect anything that's floating around, it's not a huge deal, and it's kind of just a burn fight at this point. Make sure your tanks swap. I'm going to die here to another double strike of Raking Talons, and then get battle resed again. But just make sure that you're burning her, and this actually ends up being a pretty sloppy kill. And just keep dodging Razor Wing. You'll see it hit the our other tank here, and he'll just float back in. But there's a lot that can go wrong here, but it's a very salvageable fight. And if you have her below like 40% when you get, to this part, it's very simple, even if things kind of start to go to shit. So it's not a very punishing fight. You see that she's back in spider form now, and people are starting to get the necrotic venom again. So just play smart. and move her to clear areas of the platform, and you'll be fine on Heroic. This is going to be a bit of a hectic fight later on, I think, in Mythic, but for now, it's just a burn phase, and it all depends on making it to the second platform with most of your raid alive. So for some of the tips that I would have improved if we kind of knew our second platform strategy a little bit better, is to make sure that the two tanks after the transition are close together so that there can be a Raking Talons, basically a taunt swap. Otherwise, you're going to run into the same issue we did where the tank's just going to die. Right here, I just died to regular damage and starts kind of going to hell. But it's very simple. You see that her health is already very low. And I do like the idea that we had here of keeping the Venoms off to the side while the Tornadoes are in the middle. There's a lot of room on the second platform, so probably going around the edge, kind of like we did here, is a solid way to go. Just make sure that your raid is ready for it, and make sure that your raid is actually ready to dodge the green swirls that spawn when Tornadoes hit little Venom patches. And finally, as you can tell, our DPS isn't bad, but it's also not incredible. But we're still able to kill her here, even with about half the raid down, just because of how much burn time you do actually get on her rock phase in this portion of the fight. So it is very possible to get an unclean kill, kind of like we do here, but it is also relatively straightforward, and there's not a lot of damage to worry about. So along with that, that's about all there is to this fight on Heroic. It's very, very forgiving. I would recommend doing this after Nithendra. And get yourself some loot. So thank you very much for watching. It's been Paul, and I'll see you next time.